The brake there. Two cables are broken. Welcome back to Living with a Classic, and it's the day after the MOT or inspection test for this car where it failed on three things. So I thought we need to do some investigation. One of the failures is quite simple, it's just a lock for tow bar. I'm going to call in later and order one. However, the brakes and the headlights are a different issue. We're going to have a look at the headlights because it could be a couple things. It could be something wrong with the system. I've done some research. Since they're stuck at the bottom, either there's mechanism that's broken and they've fallen down, and we can check that if they feel loose, or something is wrong with the system because they will go to their bottom position if the system detects a fault with the self-leveling headlights. They go there just so they can't, blind oncoming motorists, things like that. So I have a code reader, we can check that out, and we can bring the car in the workshop and check the brakes, because that could be brake hoses, which I have. It could also be the brake servo. So we have a test to see if it's the brake servo. If it is, the parts car, I grabbed the master off, still has the brake servo, and I can go next week and pick that up. But you may be able to see the whole car is covered in ice. We've had an ice storm last night, so this is a good test to see how well this diesel cold starts after sitting here all night. So you're gonna see is it's ice all over it. It's been pretty cold tonight. Got the code reader I just put in there, and let's see how this thing fires up. We'll let the glow plugs glow once, and it fires right up. And you got a little snowflake that's cold outside. So we'll put on the heated front screen, heated seats because I'm very cold. We'll let this thing warm up for a little bit, and then we can have a look at the headlights. Not sure how well the camera can focus on this, but if you see here, you can actively see how everything is melting. There's a thick layer of ice on there, but all the ice is moving at the moment. Heated front windshield is one of the best things. I wish every car had this. It's such a good option to have. While warming up here, I just removed the cover for one of the headlights. If I grab the back of it, it doesn't flop around. It's definitely not flopping around, because otherwise the whole reflector and everything will be flopping around if that's broken. So I don't think that is the issue. So I have a code reader that can read all Jag codes and all Land Rover codes as well. So we can go a little bit deep into the systems. There should be a computer controlling the headlights, because the front axle and rear axle, they have sensors. So sense, low difference, if you're having a trailer, you have people in the back, and they're always adjusting the headlights. So if one of those sensors is broken or something else, then I think the system goes into a fault mode and then lowers the headlights all the way down like they are right now. So what does I'm gonna plug in the code reader, gotta turn off the car, turn on ignition, and we'll go through the codes and see. It's also good to see if we have any engine codes. Hopefully we don't. We're plugged into the OBD port down there, and this is one of those, this is an iCarSoft LR volume 2.0, so it does all JLR vehicles, and you can continuously upgrade it, so it's quite a good tool to have. So we'll turn the ignition on, and we'll go into diagnostics. It is a Jaguar. It is an X-type. It's a 2005. It's a Duratorque. We'll scan the whole system. 18 modules. And we'll turn the radio off. I guess that turned on when it was scanning the module. And I think we'll turn on the headlights just so that module is active. Let's actually start with the ECU. All right. So it doesn't have I had the battery off before yesterday, so probably hasn't got any codes yet, or enough, starts and stops for it to register codes. But we had no codes right now, at least. Headlight leveling system. Read codes. This is in Swedish, but it means no codes found. Can you guys see that? There we go. This is live data. And you press F1 for all and F2 to start the live data. All right, so that means it is in use. Permanent codes 1. That's weird because it didn't show a code. We're going 0 kilometers an hour. Front axle is at 48.6%. Rear is at 100. That sounds very strange. They should be a similar level, I think. So others are wrong somewhere. The position of the electric motors is at 0 millimeters, so I'm guessing that just means that they're all the way down and we have some low voltage right now. And they're on headlights. If I switch them off, yeah, headlights are off. So you know what I think we're gonna do? We're gonna fire the car up like so. Let's turn the headlights on. So we'll have this on. We'll go up to the levels. So we have the 48 there and the 100% there in the rear axle. And we'll drive around the property a little bit here. I mean, we are basically in my backyard, so no real issues. See, all clear now. And we'll see if this moves. Both of these should then move. If they don't, we have an issue with either sensor in the back or, some sort of sensor. But let us see. This is going to be difficult to film and to show. Oh, can you see that already? It went 48, 49. I gotta turn the wheel a little bit more. But let's see. 53, 52. That's moving around the whole time. The rear one is not. So I'm guessing that is our problem. So basically there's a sensor for each axle sensing the height of the vehicle. I'm not getting anything from the rear. I'm gonna have to go check if it is attached. I think that we checked that during MOT and they all looked fine. So either we have a disconnected cable or we have a break in the wiring somewhere. And yeah, we're gonna have to have a look at that in the workshop. So I'll bring it in there, let this thing thaw a bit, and I'll come out a little bit later. We'll check if there seems to be something like that, if we can see anything. And then we're gonna have to test the front brakes as well by disconnecting the brake servo in the workshop and see if they stop, gripping the wheels or gripping the brakes as we're doing now. It's about 5 or 6 hours later, and the only thing I've done is I've raised up the front of the car, put that on jack stands, open the bonnet. I haven't touched the brake pedal, nothing like that. This side turns pretty freely. I mean, it is front wheel drive, so I am turning the transmission at the same time. A little bit more drag on this side, but it's definitely turning. It wasn't turning that easily at the test. What I want to do now is remove this line to the one-way valve, or remove it there, and just see if I lose a bunch of, if the hissing sound, lose a bunch of vacuum, if that sort of releases the brakes. And if it does and they do turn freely, I want to turn the engine on and see if that locks the brakes on again. Let me get some tools, get this apart, and then we'll see if they move a little bit more freely, and then try it with the engine running as well. I didn't really have a way of filming that because that was just really fiddly, but I managed to get the fitting out here on the brake booster. When I did, there was a massive whoosh sound. So, moment of truth. That wheel was the worst. So let's see. And I haven't touched the brake pedal, haven't done anything. Look at that. Completely released. This is normal drag. and normal on that side as well. So to replicate this, I'll open the door, we'll crank it over, we'll plug this in, and then we'll see if the brakes lock on again. Engine's running, as you can hear. That is still unplugged. They still move perfectly fine. No issues whatsoever. I can do this on a diesel because a diesel doesn't generate a vacuum in the intake like a petrol engine does. It has a vacuum pump for the brakes. So, in theory, we can just sort of plug this in. See, this is quite fiddly. Alright, that's plugged in, back into place. They might not do it right away, but maybe I need to, hit the pedal once. It's already a little bit more drag on there. Let's just hit the pedal a couple times. That's 4 times. Let's see what that does. Okay, we're good on that side. And yeah, we're stuck on that side. Yeah, we're pretty much a little stuck on there as well. Let us turn this off. And I think what I want to do now is replicate again. Just get that out of the way. I need 2 hands and 2 screwdrivers. Get that off. See if that side loosens up. If it does, then I'm going to go inside. I'm going to pump the pedal a bunch of times with all this disconnected. See if that locks up again, because then it's, well, if that happens, then something else is the issue. But if it doesn't, this is our issue. Vacuum's unplugged again, made the same whooshing sound. Both wheels freed off right away. I went inside, I pumped the pedal about 10 times, like really hard now, with everything disconnected. And it still seems to be really free. So it's not brake hoses, it's not calipers, it's the brake booster. A little bit annoying. That's probably the most annoying thing to replace. However, the parts car where I got some other things from still has the brake booster on it. So I think we're going to chance it, and I don't have time this week, but next week I can go by and pick that up, swap it out, and hopefully that should solve the brake issue. But that is the brake issue. Now, let's see if we can find a break in the cable. I have read that the cables that go for the rear end, for the leveling up there, or the sensing the level, when they go through a join there in the suspension, removable part, they tend to break there. So I'm going to have a look at that, see if we can find a cable break. If not, we're going to have to figure out some other way of testing the system. This is the driver's side, or left side of the car in the rear. I removed the rear wheel. That is the sensor for the rear axle. And here's the cable. If I followed it until here, it meets with this, which is a bit of cable here, which I removed from this little zip tie here. And we can see the brake there. 2 cables are broken, so I'm going to grab a little knife, cut this back here, and we can see how it's broken and if it can be spliced together, or if I need maybe to add a little bit of cable there. But I think we found the issue with the xenon lights. Alright, this is just a temporary thing to try it out. The red wire does not seem to be broken. I stripped the other ones back and just joined them like this. Of course, we're going to solder it and put shrink wrap on, all of that. I just want to see if the headlights react now. They might not because of the way the suspension is just hanging down. But we should still be able to see a reading on the code reader that is not 100%. Or, I mean, should be the same as the front axle at least. Ignition is on. Well, let's turn the headlights on and see if they do anything. Okay, I have the main beams on. I did not see them move. Let me plug in the code reader again and see if we see any data from the rear axle now. Sadly, it's the same thing now. Front is showing 76.8% and the rear is still showing 100.01%. So either we have another brake or there's actually something wrong with that sensor in the back. I'm going to have to do some more troubleshooting, see if I can test the sensor. It might just be a potentiometer, but I'm going to go through the manual, see how I can test that sensor. And it still shows one fault code, but when I read code, it says there are no codes. So very, very strange. So that's as far as I'm going to go with the troubleshooting for now. At least I know that the brake issue is the brake booster. Hopefully the used one I can pick up from my friend works, because the new one is, once it's shipped to my house, it's about $600. So that's what I paid for the car. So hopefully the used one will be good. I'm gonna have to go through the whole wiring there and just unplug that connector. It was really stuck on there, so I sprayed around there. I'm not gonna continue tonight, it's really, really late. And just check continuity and check there must be a break somewhere in that wiring harness. Anyways, I think we're making really good progress, and I'm gonna go, I won't say, but tomorrow I'm gonna order a lock for the rear. So hopefully sometime next week I can actually get everything back up and running, get it back, retest the car, and then it should have a clean bill of health and be back on the road. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Until next time, I'm Adam. This was Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.